If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a happy holiday.
Hey, Trojan family, what's up? Welcome back to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Thank you, as always, for making this show a part of your day. Happy Christmas week. Happy holidays. We are officially, as of this recording, 4 days from Christmas. Insane how fast this season goes. It's my favorite time of year. All the holiday celebrations, whatever you do, celebrate. It's just the best. I love it. I'm excited, actually, I will say. Only time I'll talk about weather right now. We're supposed to have rain here in the Southland all through Christmas, and many people probably not happy about that. I'm actually a little excited. It feels a little more wintry, a little colder, as I'm used to growing up in Colorado and, going out there every Christmas with the snow. So love the weather in LA, can't complain, but I don't love 80 degrees on Christmas. So I'm like, we get a little cold action. So I'm looking forward to it. Jumping on here though today, and I'm going to be back all week. I probably won't be here on Christmas Day. I'll just say that, just spend time fully with the family, but try to do everything around that Christmas Day. But yesterday, 5 more signings came. I teased it on the video yesterday. If you watched it, thank you for checking that out. I'll put the link below if not. But 5 more re-signings announced today or yesterday. So I want to talk about those today, plus a quick look at who's remaining and kind of what the numbers are in terms of roster construction, which will give you an idea, because I've kind of just thrown out there like who I think they'll go after, and we'll do a lot more leading up to the portal opening, but give you a actual, like, some data points of like what the numbers will look like. Like, this is the available roster spots that will be allocated. So then you can kind of get in your mind like, okay, this is actually how many players they're going to need to add in the portal. So we'll get into that. So stick around for that. First, let's talk about the 5 guys that did re-sign. Jah Jarrett, the beast, maybe the heaviest guy on the team, 360 or so. The thick 6 he had against Purdue was obviously his defining moment as a Trojan. But love this re-signing. He's a guy that I'm not sure we'll ever see as like that 3-down interior defensive lineman. I think he's more of a rotational piece, but can be an elite rotational piece of that. Obviously the size with the conditioning and some more technique development, maybe he gets to that 3-down type of tackle. But where he obviously is so good is in plugging the middle, stopping the run, being that big body, can give a push in pass rush when called upon, which then allows the edges to kind of eat on the outside, kind of forcing the quarterback to have to tail out from the pocket if he's able to get that push interior. So, his size is something you can't coach. And so when you have a guy that's that young, came over, I believe he came over as a redshirt sophomore, so still has obviously at least a year left of eligibility if he decides to stay any longer. But someone of that size, if you can just get a little bit more tactician ability and obviously stay healthy through the whole season, he's a guy that you can see his reps continue to grow. Again, I'm not sure he's going to be a 50 rep kind of player, but if he can kind of just be in that 30 sweet spot and give you 30 great reps every game, he's going to make your defense that much better. So obviously a super talented kid, just an awesome young man. Talked about his love for USC and the culture as to being why he's coming back. So, those are good things to hear. Maybe it's all talk, but if it's a continuous talk and then you start to see it translate on the field like we saw this year, it's a very good sign. So Jah Jarrett, officially back. I think that's a big one. No pun intended. Defensive back, true freshman, Trestin Castro from the IE, local kid, played at Upland High School. Tons of talent with this kid. Again, we didn't get to see him this year. I know I sound like a broken record, but the defensive back room, while was not necessarily a strength of the defense, is so deep. Like, the talent is so good. It's just so young. So I know I've said that tons of times, but man, when you just look at the roster of this secondary, it's like, okay, who's going to be that breakout guy? Who's going to be that sophomore, that redshirt freshman that's going to be like, wow, okay, that, Dejon Lee, if you will, of Alabama is a true freshman that really balled out this year. You could say that was Marcellus Williams this year. I thought Marcellus Williams did a lot of really good things as a redshirt freshman. And so you got to just get these kids reps. Trestin Castro is that guy that has the talent level, local kid, can certainly continue to develop and gain those reps, whether it's in special teams or in the secondary, because it's going to be wide open. Well, I've kind of penciled in who I think will be the starters kind of going into the spring. It's going to be, there's no, as much as I love like Christian Pierce, there's no Kamari Ramsey where it's like, okay, that guy's guaranteed to start in the secondary. Right now, I would say Christian Pierce is that guy just for experience, leadership, how long he's been in the program. I think he deserves that. But there's not like that just, okay, this guy's probably a fringe first round pick. He will be a starter. It is wide open. But there's a lot of talent, which I think should get fans very excited. And hopefully the development through the offseason just continues and continues with the likes of Doug Belk and Trevon Reed. So Trestin Castro, baller, local kid, he'll be back. I know I get excited about all these guys. That's who I am. Glass half full guy. But Jadyn Ramos, he resigns, edge, freshman. This is, and you've probably heard me say it a lot, this is a kid I truly think is going to wow people. Like, the only thing against him, and this is similar to like a Matai, but Matai was obviously a linebacker, Ramos coming off the edge. His like only knock is his size or his weight, if you will. Because he's a thin edge, 6'4". He's in that 240, 250 range, which is not like 200. It's not like a lightweight, but you like to see your edges in that more 260 range, if possible, 255. Especially in the Big Ten with these tackles that are 6'8", 315. But man, he is good for what his production in high school is unreal. I think he had 18 sacks his senior year. Had incredible production, was just a 3-star recruit. USC added him in that second signing period during February, him and AG Tuateli. And we can say this now, it's been so long. We got access to watch a kind of live scrimmage at the Coliseum during fall camp, us in the media. We weren't allowed to report on it. It was just kind of observation. I think I can report on this now that we're a year after or 6 months after it. During that live scrimmage, and when the kind of, ones-on-ones, it wasn't like it was similar to like a spring game style, but it was more practice reps, obviously. So it wasn't always like ones versus ones. They were doing different simulations to test out different things. But when you had like the 2s and 3s going against the 2s and the 3s, so vice versa, offense and defense, Jadyn Ramos absolutely dominated. I'm not kidding. I think he had 6 sacks. 6 sacks in the like small, short, simulated sessions. Like, he was unblockable. That's how good he was. And I remember watching that being like, this kid, if he can get the weight up to going against, real starting caliber Big Ten tackles, he's got everything in his disposal. He's got the height, 6'5", 6'6". He's got the speed. He's got the moves, the tool bag when it comes to pass rushing. So watch out for Jadyn Ramos. Like, I think that's a guy that they're very excited about. Sean Nua, Coach Henney. I think they're very excited about him. And just from what I saw, I think the dude can be special potentially. At worst, a great depth piece that we'll see probably more and more as it goes on when you consider him being behind, Crawford and Shelby. So love that one. Also yesterday, Taniela Tupou. I've talked about him before. The freshman tight end, played two-way at Folsom High School, played edge, played tight end, recruited to USC as a tight end. In that room, I think he's another kid that, has room to develop. Being that kind of two-way player, maybe wasn't a true set tight end, but has the size, has the versatility. And now when you see the departure of, Lake McCree going to the draft and Walker Lyons, like, he'll have an opportunity. Obviously, Mark Bowman's the big name coming in. You have Josiah Jefferson, the JUCO product, number 1 tight end JUCO coming in. A lot of talent there. You have the return of Walter Matthews. We'll see about Joey Olsen. Haven't been announced officially yet. But I think Tupou can be a guy that, surprises people. And I say that for a lot of guys, but these young guys have a lot of talent and they're being re-signed for a reason. It's not just to be a depth guy. It's to push for some starting reps. So look out for Tupou. Finally, yesterday, last one announced. I'm probably going to butcher this name. I practiced it many times, but once you're doing it live, I'm going to mess it up. But Mana Bulabalavu. I said it like 100 times before. Mana Bulabalavu re-signs. Originally a defensive line recruit or commit, transitioned over to offensive line, and clearly this coaching staff has liked what they've seen from this transition, from this project, to keep him around. 6'3", 315, so pretty good size for an interior defensive lineman. Offensive lineman, if you're looking at a guard or center. And good depth piece, and we'll see what he does to compete. So obviously he's done enough where they've liked him in scout team, liked his reps in practice, where they want to keep developing him and seeing what can come of that. So there's your 5th re-signing. So let's look at the numbers. Hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper. The number 1 sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose 2 or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns. For Jadyn Mailata, if it's Mekhi Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USC LAFB. That's going to give you a matched deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. As of now, based on my count, hopefully I didn't miss any. If I did, drop it in there if you've counted differently. But as of now, I count, and this is as of Sunday, December 21st, 30 re-signings, right? 30 re-signings. You add the 35, well, I'll say this. So 30 re-signings, I expect, and I'll go through this list quickly. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on each guy. Roughly 21 to 25 more re-signings. I think there's that is who we're still kind of waiting on, 20 to 25. So let's call it, in that range. That gives you 50 to 55 returners. So I kind of have it with my math based on who I expect. I kind of have it set at 51. Returning, retention, re-signings. You add the 35 freshmen coming in, that puts you at 86 roster spots. There's 105 total scholarship roster spots. So you've got 19 spots for the transfer portal. So I've been saying all along, I expect 10 to 15 transfer additions. Based on these numbers, you have 19 spots. So that could certainly mean they re-signed 4 or 5 others that I haven't included here. And you're in that 15 range. So Lincoln Riley said they're not going to add a huge class. That's been kind of the MO. That's what I've been telling you guys. I think I'm sure others have said that too. We're looking at high impact, low quantity, high quality in this portal class. And I think the numbers now dictate that. Like, you can say all you want, but if you're like, oh man, like you say that, but you have 30 open spots, like you're going to need to add 30 guys. Well, no, right now we're looking at, if this all happens how I'm expecting, we're looking at 19. That could go down to 15. And then we're right in line with what we were saying, 15 portal additions. So we'll do this quickly of who's left that I kind of expect. From the receiver position, really just Corey Sims. And that's the last kind of underclassman name guy that hasn't been announced. I don't see any reason why he won't be back. I haven't heard otherwise. I'm not saying I'm guaranteeing it, but I expect him to be back. In the tight end room, you got Joey Olsen and Carson Tabaracci. I expect both to be back, but we'll see if the numbers game, if they feel like there's too many tight ends or if, one of those guys wants to go compete elsewhere, we'll see. But, I don't see any reason why not. One really interesting name, I think, is John Johnson. Freshman. He was a defensive back member. Late in the season, they transitioned him over to offense. We saw him play good amount of snaps at that kind of swing running back slot receiver. I think he's more of a running back. Liked what I saw, but obviously that's a super deep room. So I think they made his transition there when they were so injured, that a kind of necessity. We'll see if he wants to come back and be in that log jam, unfortunately, or if he'll decide to end up going to the portal and find an opportunity. And I wouldn't think any less, as I don't think of anyone less hitting the portal, but that would be understandable. But hope to be back, because I think we saw such a short amount of development and he got reps out of it. So he could certainly compete. He's certainly a talented kid. So James Johnson, we'll see. On the offensive line, a bunch of names still we haven't heard. So Willie Washer, rave reviews in fall camp and the spring from Coach Hansen. Expect him to be back. Kalen Miller, for sure, expect to be back. King Miller was announced just 2 days ago, so we'll see if Kalen gets that honor here soon. Hayden Treader, mentioned him. He got some reps. I think there's a lot of excitement around him. Colorado kid. Always got to shout out these Colorado kids. The three big freshman offensive tackles, Aaron Dunn, Alex Payne, and Elijah Vicona. I expect all of them to be back. I don't see why not, unless there was anything that changed throughout the season. But I know those were big additions to that 25 class and ones that they'll definitely want to retain. So I expect all three, and we should see all three play in this bowl game, which is very exciting, or at least two of them. One of them at the very least. And then I would expect to see the other two as well, just as the game goes on. Elijah Page and Alani Noah are the two last kind of big name offensive linemen. So I'll say this much. From what I've heard, Elijah Page will be back. So based on conversation I've had, he hasn't been announced yet, but he was a huge priority for Chad Bowden and the staff. He was a guy basically that they said this is kind of a must retention. Obviously he was banged up. Fans may have some different opinions. When he is healthy, he is one of the best tackles in the Big Ten. If he can stay healthy all year, he will be a fringe first-round pick next year. I have no doubt about that. I think he's that talented. He's that athletic, but he also has that size. He's great on the team. So from what I've heard, he'll be back. Just hasn't been announced yet. So Elijah Page should be back. Alani Noah, I haven't heard. So that's kind of a question mark. Haven't heard anything about Alani Noah. I don't see why he wouldn't unless he wants to go. But no announcement yet. I haven't heard. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I just haven't been told one way or the other. So he's kind of out of all the offensive linemen I just listed, he would be actually my biggest question mark just because I just haven't heard anything. But Page and Noah, the two starters you hope are back. Page, I'm fairly confident is. Noah, I just don't know as much.
Drinking and driving is a decision that will change your whole world. Things will never be the same once you get a DUI. Because legal fees and time in court are just the beginning. Getting into a crash is another way your world could be irreversibly changed after drinking and driving. Your vehicle may not be the only thing that gets damaged in that crash. You could face a life-altering injury or even death. But you're not the only one who could face those consequences. Your decision to drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare, a taxi, a sober friend, or a designated sober driver. Always plan for a safe ride home. The only decision that'll change your world for the better is the decision to call for a sober ride. It's never worth it to drive drunk. Don't risk it. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Moving over to defense, you got three backers, Tamir Robinson, Desmond Stevens, Elijah Newby, or four backers, Elijah Newby and AJ Tuateli. We'll see what the numbers game look like. Based on my projections I had done earlier, I kind of expected all of them to be back. Basically, once they moved on from Matai Tagoe, I kind of thought every other backer would be re-signed, plus one or two portal additions as well. I still kind of think that. I think we'll see these four back. I certainly think we'll see Tamir Robinson back. I certainly think we'll see Newby and Tuateli back. And I believe we'll see Stevens back. The only reason he wouldn't, in my opinion, is if the staff has talked to him and said, hey, the starting job is not guaranteed, and maybe he believes going elsewhere to continue. I mean, he started all year, so maybe he believes going on. Not saying those conversations happen that way, but that'd be the only reason why I wouldn't think he'd be back, but I think he will be. And then finally, you got Jadyn Abasiri. I think that's a must-have back on the defensive line. Just has gotten better and better. Only a true sophomore, super young guy, is only going to get better. And a staple on this team that has played since his freshman year. So expect him back. Cash Jacobson, didn't see him yet, but a grinder, guy that has gotten some good reviews from the staff. So another one kind of expect to be back. And really in the secondary, the only two we haven't heard yet is Alex Graham and Kevin Longstreet. Alex Graham, 1,000% expect to be back. That would be another blow if he is not, because of, he was probably going to start as a freshman if he did not get hurt in that nickel spot. So he is, I think, again, it's wide open in the secondary. It's going to be an all-out bloodbath competition for those 5 starting spots. But he is one, if I'm with the pencil, I'm penciling his name as one of those starters. That's how much hype he has gotten from the staff. And Kevin Longstreet, a nice depth piece. He was forced to play quite a bit early on and played admirably. I know, gave up some stuff. Obviously, the Illinois game was rough on tape, but he wasn't expected to be in that spot. It was a little unfair to him to be like, hey, you're going to be our starting slot guy now. I just don't think he was ready for that, and his development wasn't there yet, but I thought he's, worked his tail off, played admirably, and a guy that, you would love to keep on this team for depth. Now, him remaining on this team might remain on the final name I'll say, and that is quarterback Husan Longstreet. And so if Husan ends up deciding to go to the portal to look for a starting position, obviously we know Jade Maeva coming back, so he will essentially be the backup for another year. Then it's, will Kevin Longstreet decide to follow him, go somewhere else all entirely, or is he happy here being close to home regardless? So that'll be interesting to see. Husan Longstreet, obviously the big name, big industry. I've talked about it before, so I won't, dive into that too much right now. But based on what I've heard, it's really 50-50 at this point. I think it's one of those, he loves being a Trojan, loves USC, loves this team, loves being close to home. Everything. I think there's no reason he would want to leave. He's going to get a good NIL deal. I think his contract even goes up in year 2 from what it already is. So making a good NIL contract to be the backup. So for him, it'll come down to, does he want to start next year? And, I don't fault either way. I think for me, I say, hey, this is an opportunity you do not want to leave. Like you're a quarterback for Lincoln Riley, you're guaranteed to be a high draft pick. There's no one that hasn't been. Not one. The lowest true draft pick of Lincoln Riley that really played for him was Jalen Hurts in the second round. That's the lowest. Every other one was a first-round pick. 3 of them were first overall. Even if you go to Spencer Rattler, he was still like a 4th or 5th round pick, and he only played, 4 or 5 games with Lincoln Riley before Caleb Williams took over. So you are guaranteed, based on history, to be probably a first-round draft pick if you play for Lincoln Riley. So that alone, I'm saying you stay and put. But I get it. Like, if you want to go elsewhere and be like, hey, just be the dude as a sophomore and you're going to get 2-3 years of full starting time just as the competitor this now, like, I totally get that. So we'll monitor that as it goes, but we shall see. But as of now, I think it's around 50-50. He's back. But those are the main names. So there you go. In that 86 to 90 range of returning players plus the freshmen coming in. And so that's going to leave you in that 15-player range for portal additions, just like I've been telling you. So let's end with that. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like and subscribe. Helps us keep growing. I'll be back mañana back to our 3-video schedule is the plan. So we'll have plenty of USC content here on the USC LAFB channel. Appreciate you, family. As always, fight on.
If you're a maintenance supervisor for a commercial property, you've had to deal with everything from leaky faucets to flickering light bulbs. But nothing's worse than that ancient boiler that's lived in the building since the day it was built, 50 years ago. It's enough to make anyone lose their cool. That's where Grainger comes in. With industrial-grade products and dependable fast delivery, Grainger can help with any challenge, from worn-out components to everyday necessities. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday. If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.